It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution, code-breaking news, culture, erratic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Simply Bitcoin, the most watched daily Bitcoin live show on YouTube, Rumble, and X. Pretty crazy stuff. The ETF continues to gather momentum, continues to gather steam. It is now in the top 5 Bitcoin, the top 5 ETFs in general, the BlackRock ETF and the Fidelity ETF. So that institutional interest in Bitcoin continues to grow. BlackRock's position, BlackRock's Bitcoin holdings, of course, it's not BlackRock's holdings themselves, but it's holdings for their clients, just dwarfs Michael Saylor's, completely left Michael Saylor's in the dust. Currently, BlackRock has 230,000 Bitcoin. Compare that with the 205,000 Bitcoin that MicroStrategy has. Of course, it's not a fair comparison. BlackRock is an asset manager. MicroStrategy is an individual company. But still, this is crazy stuff. I think this is a new era for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is growing up. It's not the Bitcoin of old. When you have these huge players, these public companies, these asset managers that have such large holdings. And again, I think this trend will continue just because of the records that it's breaking. Like the fact that it's already in the top 5 ETFs, and keep in mind, there's 3,100 ETFs in the US. And the fact that it's already in the top 5, it's not even a couple months old, I think is a massive, massive deal. I saw some news over the weekend as well that it seems like they're getting more interest than the gold ETFs. And that is a really, really good sign, but also not surprising. Like here's Walter Bloomberg. He says, Bitcoin has already surpassed gold in investor portfolio allocation. You know who said that? JP Morgan, right? So that's a huge effing deal. But I think that's a testament to Bitcoin's incentives. And it's just a matter of time before the rest of, the institutional world wakes up to this and the rest of the world wakes up to this. I think they are waking up to it already, right? Bitcoin's incentives stay winning. I think Bitcoin has the best incentives. All right, everybody, no more delay. I do want to bring up my very, very talented co-host, always optimistic. Giant smile on his face. He did say that he was going to do the show shirtless today, but then he changed his mind.
Yeah, give me like a month.
But
what's up, guys? How you doing?
We're waiting for 300K Bitcoin before Opti.
Yeah, 300K Bitcoin before Opti loses his mind. Man, what that BlackRock ETF news? It's pretty crazy. They're surpassing MicroStrategies. They are leading the pack head and shoulders. And just to add on to that news you were talking about, the Bitcoin ETFs being top 5 overall of all ETFs, the Bitcoin ETF launch, I think now is very clearly the most successful
of all
ETF
time.
launch ever. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane and it's crazy, but also it doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Not at all.
This is Bitcoin's incentives and they stay winning. Anyways, we have a very special guest. We have Aladdin, founder of the BTC trading cards. We have him today on the show, and we're going to talk about the BTC trading cards during the culture segment. How you doing, Aladdin? Welcome to the show.
Doing good, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Good morning and a hell of a day to buy the dip.
So guys, if you haven't heard of BTC trading cards, definitely check them out on Twitter. They have so many collections. I love the unconfiscatable. I might be a little bit biased, but I love the unconfiscatable collection, the first collection, the Pacific Bitcoin collection. So Aladdin, why don't you talk a little bit about that, man? What is BTC trading cards for anyone who doesn't know?
It's the simplest way to orange pill friends and family. It's a cool collectible for Bitcoiners in the way that we're time stamping our moment in history right now. We're making some of the biggest moves ever for the change, a positive change, fix the money, fix the world. And if we don't time stamp that, then we're going to be missing out later on to be able to look back and have something physical to hold on to just be able to touch and feel these moments we have now. So for Bitcoiners, I think it's that. And for normies, for friends and family, kids, trading cards are nostalgic. They've been around 150 years. So These were literally created to just have a really simple way to open up the conversation with people about Bitcoin and teach them all the different fundamentals that make us so bullish about Bitcoin. I like to say it's like the Bitcoin standard. It's only 20% about Bitcoin, and the other 80% is why Bitcoin is so important. So we touch on freedom, monetary history, lots of tidbits there, and really bite-sized pieces to be able to get even the hardest people sometimes to be able to start to bite in a little bit and learn why, again, we're so bullish.
It's like in real life, you know, something that you can like hold on. And I feel like
wait, they're physical NFTs? What's going on here?
But of course, Brian DeMint in the chat, absolute Chad. Yeah, like they're physical NFTs. I guess you could say that. They're physical NFTs, are they not?
Yeah, I guess the trading cards have been the physical NFT for shit before we had television. So.
No, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too, like what really gave me a lot of the ideas is memes. Memes are massive. They do so much. I've got 2 teenagers and they get fired up when it comes to memes. And this is a way to put a meme on a piece of paper and pass it around. I think there's something to the physical world and stepping out of the matrix a little bit. There's just something different that you get out of that. So that's really what these do. They encapsulate so many different things in today's world, but again, they pull you out of the matrix. And I think your mind works a little bit better. I think the critical thinking skills click on a little bit more when you're not staring at a screen learning.
100%. I love that, dude. They're in real life memes. Guys, today's show is going to be epic. We're going to talk about the ETFs. We're going to talk about the, again, a quick update on the CBDCs. We have to stay on top of what our enemies are doing. And of course, we're going to talk about the in real life memes, the trading cards during the culture segment. So it's going to be a hell of a show. But before we jump into it, I do want to give a shout out to our lead sponsor. And of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin Well. Bitcoin Well is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. That's right. You can't buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well unless you're going to take self-custody, which perfectly aligns with the Simply Bitcoin ethos of the separation of money and state. They're a publicly traded company coming out of Canada, which recently expanded to all 50 states. Go check out bitcoinwell.com today. And I also want to give a shout out to the Bitcoin Well contest. All last week, they gave away every single week. They gave away a stamp seed if you signed up to the Bitcoin Well contest. So go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. If you sign up, you have an opportunity to win. The current jackpot is 2.9 million Satoshis every time someone enters into the contest. That jackpot continues to grow. So if you sign up, go to bitcoinwell.com/contest. You have an opportunity to sign into or jump into the contest, win that jackpot, and we're also going to be giving away some epic prizes. So far, we've given away a passport, a book by Seb Bunny, and all last week, every single weekday, we give away seed plates. We're going to announce the winners on Wednesday when Adam O'Brien, the CEO and founder, comes on the show. So guys, check out bitcoinwell.com today, the best place for automatic Bitcoin self-custody. Check out Bitcoin Well. All right, everybody, let's get on to numbers. We have a lot to talk about. Let's check it out. Here we go.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the show so far, it really helps with the algos if you're listening listening to us on Rumble, YouTube, or X, or of course your favorite audio platform. Shout out, by the way, to our audio audience. We hit an all-time high 4 views in a month, like by a large margin. So shout out to everyone who's listening to us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and your favorite audio platform. Anyways, guys, I made it incredibly easy for you guys. You could scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you directly to the Stampseed website where you can use the promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off. And also a little bit more details. I forgot to mention this in the intro, but a little bit more details in regards to the Bitcoin Jackpot Contest, Bitcoin Well. They'll determine the winners based on the hashes of blocks 835250 and 835254. That's right. They picked the contest, not like what Opti and I were using, where we just went to a random website. They're literally using the Bitcoin blockchain and some fancy open source software to determine the winners of the contest. And shout out to all the winners who entered last week. So guys, stay tuned to Simply Bitcoin to see more giveaways by Bitcoin Well. Should be awesome. Anyways, at the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 67,760. Sats per dollar, 1,476. Block height, 835,245. Blocks to halving, 4,755. Halving estimate, April 19, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,484 Bitcoin. Capacity value, $303 million US. Realized monetary inflation, 1.74%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin is 1.33 trillion US dollars. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 9.64%. In the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin is just getting started. Anyways, I gave you guys a quick little update in the beginning. Give you guys an update again. MicroStrategy is currently sitting on 205,000 Bitcoin, but remember, they're using their infinite money glitch to continue to rate. Like the MicroStrategy stock goes up, they issue more debt, they get more dollars, they use those dollars to buy Bitcoin, the stock goes up. They do that, like literally rinse and repeat. Like he found the infinite money glitch. A lot of people are calling a speculative attack on the dollar. How long, like why, Apple Computers is holding so much cash. Like Bitcoin is perfect. Like how long until one of these very, very publicly known companies just bites the bullet, so to speak, and says, you know what, we got to add Bitcoin on our balance sheet. I mean, it would the world would lose their minds, right? But again, and I know that a lot of people are like, no, Nico, that's unbelievable. I remember thinking the same thing before Nayib Bukele at Bitcoin 2021. I remember he announced we're going to make Bitcoin legal tender. I remember thinking the same thing before Michael Saylor stepped in and say, you know what, we're gonna adopt this Bitcoin strategy. So yeah, it seems like, impossible until it's not, but the incentives are there, right? The incentives for something like this to happen are so there, and it's obvious. Like Google, Apple, they're holding like massive dollar reserves on their balance sheet. Even if they're like, okay, let's put in 1% or 2% or 3% of those dollar reserves they put into Bitcoin, it would actually make up for the loss of purchasing power due to inflation, right? So I mean, like it's incredibly obvious. How long until they do this? I mean, it's obvious, but it's not so obvious at the same time. Anyways, so BlackRock ETF, like I said, completely just left MicroStrategy in the dust. MicroStrategy took them 3 years. I know it's not a completely fair comparison. One's an asset manager, one's just a company, a software company. Now they're different. Now they're not a software company anymore. What is it? They're like a Bitcoin enabling company or something.
I think he said Bitcoin development
company. Yeah. It's so badass. You don't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. Anyway, so quick ETF update. So BlackRock currently holds 230,000 Bitcoin. Fidelity holds 132,000. So nice little chunk.
And let's look at the Grayscale numbers. They were at 400 something thousand last week. Now they're at 300,000.
Yeah, I mean, people are just dumping Grayscale and they're just putting it into these other ETFs. So like, look, the Bitwise ETF is crushing it. The ARK ETF is crushing it. The Fidelity ETF. Obviously, the clear winners here are BlackRock and Fidelity, right? And then of course the Grayscale, the reason they have so much Bitcoin is because they didn't have the ETF, but they had, I forget what it was called, but they basically had like a stock or something that was tracking. It was kind of tracking the price of Bitcoin, but it wasn't officially an ETF, but people were using it to get exposure to Bitcoin. So anyways, so a little bit of an update. It seems like not all of them are winners though. I mean, that's obvious. Like the Vanek one, it's interesting. Apparently they decreased their fees to 0 and then they got a huge boost. But it seems like the true winners here are the BlackRock and the Fidelity ETFs because there were so many ETFs. I think there was like 10 at one point. Anyways, this is what I was saying in the beginning of the show. Massive news. This is Walter Bloomberg. He's like a news aggregator on Twitter, does an incredible job. And he says, Bitcoin has already surpassed gold in investor portfolio allocation. And supposedly who said this was JP Morgan. That is massive, right? This is absolutely huge. How long? I mean, the head start that gold had was what, 3,000 years, 2,000 years? Bitcoin already surpassed the market cap of silver. It's already 10% of what the market cap of gold is. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than people think. I know a lot of people are saying, Nico, the law of big numbers, these are trillions of dollars in market cap that it has to go. But I mean, the incentive structure is there. The incentives are there. And again, you could say, Nico, you're crazy, but like, let the facts speak for themselves. Check out this breaking news from the Simply Bitcoin account. By the way, you should follow the Simply Bitcoin Twitter account. It's one of the best Bitcoin news aggregators on Bitcoin Twitter. We're dropping news all the time. And of course, not to mention our live shows and, our boy Rustin and John's originals that drop 3 times a week. Anyways, so already in the top 5, we have the Fidelity one in 5th, and then the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF in 3rd place. That's absolutely massive, right? There's 3,100 ETFs. So the fact that, and remember, we broke the news when they're in the top 10. And then when they're in the top 10, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they got in the top 5. And then a couple weeks later, here we are. And this is just getting started. How old are these ETFs? A couple months old? This is absolutely crazy.
2 months?
2 months old, man. I mean, look, Bitcoin is doing what Bitcoin does best. Anyways, here is a TradingView article. Apparently, the original article came from Cointelegraph. The headline for audio listeners is BlackRock Bitcoin ETFs set daily volume record as BTC recoups slump. I mean, again, another record-breaking day in Bitcoin ETF land, which is absolutely crazy. It goes on to say BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF has notched another daily trading volume record as BTC dropped 6% from its daily high over the United States trading day. Bar chart data for March 14th shows the BlackRock ETF traded 99.3 million shares in the day, a trading volume of over 3.9 billion and beating its previous 3.7 billion volume record set less than 10 days ago on March 5th. It came in as BTC dropped 6% from its daily high over the US trading day. Did you guys hear that? And you guys have felt it too. Right? We hit that high. I think it was like 72 or 73,000. We had that correction. We went to 64. I mean, dude, like we're already sitting at 67. I mean, and where's like with this recovery is coming, guys, you have to pay attention to where the money's coming from. This is coming from Wall Street. This is Wall Street who's interested in Bitcoin. This is absolutely nuts. What happens when a nation state, like what happens when, like a nation state starts to feel the benefits, a central bank starts to feel the benefit of this? Do you think that Michael Saylor has found an infinite money glitch? Central banks have literally own the infinite money glitch, right? They literally have the money printers themselves. What happens when they wake up to this reality, right? And remember, guys, Bitcoin is an aligned incentive structure, and you guys have to change your mindset a little bit, right? Because it's like, I remember the initial reaction with the BlackRock stuff. It's like, we can't trust Larry Fink, ESG. What you are seeing with all of that is the fiat incentive structure, right? You don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. Bitcoin is aligned incentive structure. So you might start to see these big corporations that you might have thought as evil in the fiat world, and you might start to see them behave in a certain way that actually benefits you, right? And that's, again, Bitcoin's aligned incentive structure system. Which is something I don't hear a lot of people talk about. Anyways, it goes on to say, BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF has been the top performing fund by volume and net inflows among the 10 new ETFs launched in January. It saw a record inflow day on March 12th with 849 million of flows, the largest of any Bitcoin fund so far. When is that going to hit $1 billion in a day? Very, very soon, I would say. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, however, remains the largest of the 10. But I mean, again, I think that has to do with the fact that they had like, I forget what it was called, like USD. I forget what it was called exactly. The GBTC, they had the whole GBTC thing. Anyways, this is crazy, not surprising at the same time, but I think that this is going to completely change this cycle. I think that the whole cycles of old that we've been following, I think the day that the ETF was approved, that was coincidentally the same day that Hal Finney said back in 2008 running Bitcoin, that was the same day that the ETF was approved. That day, everything changed for Bitcoin. Just because, again, institutions, large high net worth individuals, they didn't have really like a proper mechanism to get exposure to Bitcoin. And not to mention, you didn't really have the legitimization, right? The fact that BlackRock put its stamp of approval, so to speak, on Bitcoin, I think really changes the conversation. Now, I get what some Bitcoiners are saying, for the revolution, which is self-custody. Does it change anything? Not really. Would Bitcoin have failed if if BlackRock didn't get in the game? No. But I think from a price perspective, I think it's definitely going to be a game changer for especially in the next couple of months or so. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this? And then we'll hear from Aladdin.
Yeah, so I mean, look, Bitcoin is demonetizing gold in real time, and we've been saying this as Bitcoiners that this would happen, I don't know, for years now, and now we actually have the data to back that up, and just the amount of inflows going into these ETFs is absolutely insane. Boomers love Bitcoin. Shouts out to all the boomers out there that want some Bitcoin exposure. As Briggs said in the chat, Wall Street wants them sick gains, and when you really look at the playing field, you look at Bitcoin's gains in fiat terms versus what the safe and the non-risky gains are of traditional financial world, and it's almost like a no-brainer. We had James Lavish on last week, and he was going through that math of if you only had a 3% allocation to Bitcoin, you wouldn't have that much more volatility in your portfolio. And then that 3% gains the last decade or whatever the math was would outperform the rest of your portfolio. So it's literally becoming a no-brainer to add Bitcoin to your portfolio. Obviously, we think that holding Bitcoin directly, holding spot Bitcoin directly, custodying your Bitcoin is the revolution. But I understand why people who have money in the traditional financial system would just want some exposure to Bitcoin. And I think that it's kind of like a gateway drug to self-custodying your Bitcoin. You realize that Bitcoin is the one driving the markets now, and you probably want to hold some Bitcoin directly. But I think this is just part of the process, And this is just the beginning. I as from the conversations I've had, a lot of asset managers haven't even fully dipped their toes into Bitcoin. This information is, this information is still spreading throughout the markets and throughout the peer-to-peer network of institutional managers. And so I think Q2 and Q3, we are going to see a lot more inflows coming into Bitcoin because people finally are waking up to the idea that Bitcoin is a legitimate asset to be holding. And we're going to see some big names come out soon enough that they are finally holding some Bitcoin. And that FOMO is going to go exponential as the price starts going up. But the very most interesting aspect of this, I think, is the amount of institutional demand coming to Bitcoin and the fact that the Bitcoin price is kind of like, it feels like the price is still being suppressed, even though we are at all-time highs before the halving. So it just goes to show, man, I think it's going to get crazy at the end of the year, and we're all here for it. I was even having this conversation on Thursday. It's like, I don't think any of us are bullish enough into what Bitcoin is actually going to do. Yes, we have these bullish predictions that like, oh, in a decade, Bitcoin's going to be, $10 million or whatever. But hey, it might get there a lot quicker. This may not be, I've been seeing the meme of like Bitcoin power laws. Like, I think we are still in the S-curve adoption of Bitcoin, and it's just the beginning. And I don't think we understand exponentials enough to really be bullish enough on where this thing is going. So, 100%. Keep stacking, keep taking Bitcoin into custody. This is the way.
100%. Anyways, before I pass it on to Aladdin, we did get a super chat, Opti. Appreciate Young Kings for the super chat on the $5. He said, what are your thoughts on only Bitcoiners versus pro MicroStrategy Bitcoiners? Why are some Bitcoiners mad for buying MicroStrategy? I don't get it. # best Bitcoin show. I mean, I appreciate you, Young Kings. And I mean, look, Simply, it's in the fucking name, brother. We're Simply Bitcoin. So, we advocate for buying Bitcoin, mining Bitcoin, earning Bitcoin, and taking that Bitcoin into self-custody. However, some people, they want to get exposure to Bitcoin in different ways. So one of the ways that you can get exposure to Bitcoin without directly buying spot Bitcoin is buying MicroStrategy or buying some of the mining stocks. And what tends to happen if you buy some of those stocks is think about it like as like a kind of like a levered play on Bitcoin. So the volatility might be a little bit higher, but it's not 100% sure. It's not 100% certain. So what do I mean by that? So if Bitcoin goes up like 20, 30%, MicroStrategy stock might go up, it might outpace that. So in a way, in Satoshi terms, if you buy some of these stocks, you might be quote unquote outperforming Bitcoin. But that's not something that we could quote unquote endorse on Simply Bitcoin. We're simply just buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, dollar cost average, put it into cold storage, for a rainy day. But just to answer your question. So I think what you're seeing is the purists kind of butting heads with people that are trying to, I don't want to say beat the market, but beat the market kind of, right?
And just to add on that, I mean, like, look, if you have money outside of the system, obviously buy Bitcoin directly. But if you have money wrapped up in 401ks or whatever within the traditional financial system, then, like buying some stock in MicroStrategy is like a leverage Bitcoin play. So you're getting a lot of exposure into the Bitcoin market. And, we're Simply Bitcoin. I would say just hold Bitcoin. But hey, if you have money, you want to play around in the stock market, it's already in there. You might as well get some MicroStrategy exposure because it's ripping. It's absolutely ripping. It's crazy.
I love that. All right, Aladdin, what's your take on this, brother?
Yeah, I mean, on that last point, I think part of it might be a little bit of like the Elon Musk or Bezos or Jobs, where we get so bullish on Saylor. He's just so incredible. He's such an incredible speaker, just incredibly intelligent guy. And a lot of people could be just betting on that. I know like when Tesla went crazy, majority of people were betting on Tesla, not necessarily because it had any of the numbers to make it make sense to jump into Tesla like they did. They were following Elon Musk. So I do think that was or is a good portion of why people are jumping on Master like that as well. But on the ETFs, I mean, the office complex I just left, it was nothing but financial advisors. And these people knew nothing about Bitcoin. They were not interested in Bitcoin. I had a luncheon with all of them before I left, and they were still completely on the fence. I brought up the fact that we got the ETFs. They're still incredibly worried about it. We've barely touched the ice on being able to start getting people into Bitcoin. And I don't think most people honestly understand that there is an ETF. I've got good friends that they've got their fiat mining jobs and they don't know much about Bitcoin. They're stacking for their 401ks for their future. And I asked them about the Bitcoin ETFs, if that's what they're going to be doing, hoping that they would somehow start to get into Bitcoin. And the majority of them are like, what's an ETF? So I think there's a lot of education that still needs to be put out there for people to understand. And yeah, self-custody should be the only way. But I do think just from my pulse on the people, my friends and family that are not technical, they are already incredibly afraid of Bitcoin. The ETF will hopefully at least be a catalyst to get them started. And then maybe they'll pick up a book. Maybe they'll read into why we self-custody and why it's so important. So it's stepping stages. But I've been in Bitcoin 8 years and I've never seen anything like this. Everyone, we all have our own predictions on where things will go and how things are going to react for the halving, before the halving, after the halving. This was completely out of the lines for me. I was not bullish enough. So I'm really excited at where we're at right now and God, where we go. It's totally up in the air at the moment, and the air seems like we've got a lot of room to climb. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this right now.
100%. This is a wild ride, and it seems like we're of the same class, Aladdin. So it's been a long and tumultuous journey, lots of ups and downs. But yeah, it really seems like this is completely uncharted territory in Bitcoin's history, therefore world history as well, right? So anyways, guys, before we move on to news segment, I do want to give a shout out to our merch. A new collection just dropped. We team up with a Bitcoin artist, Opti. How do you pronounce his name? Because I will butcher it.
Asanoa _gold on Twitter.
He's an absolute legend, and we have all this different types of merch. So Peaceful Revolution, the Guy Fawkes kind of Bitcoin merch, a gold Bitcoin pill, a snapback, a dad hat. We got ladies merch as well. We heard you, Elaine, and so check out simplybitcoin.com, and you guys could help support the show by checking out some of our merch as well. And I also I also owe Brian DeMint because I completely butchered booking him on the show. So I do want to give a shout out to his book, Bitcoin Evangelism: Planting Seeds for Decentralized Revolution. Is a book that you want to get your friends, if you have a hard time orange pilling your friends and family, this is a book that you want to get for them. So guys, check out Bitcoin Evangelism today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the news. We have a lot to talk about.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air-gapped security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to today's news. But before we do that, I made it incredibly easy for you guys, like always. Scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you directly to the Passport by Foundation Devices website, where you can get yourself a Passport hardware wallet. Remember, guys, not your keys, not your cheese. You want to put your Bitcoin in cold storage, and we recommend our sponsor, Passport by Foundation Devices. Completely open source device, I might add, and absolutely beautiful. Incredibly easy to use, especially with the Envoy app. All right, guys, so we talk a lot about CBDCs. We do. But the reason we do that is because not only do we want to, pay attention to what they're doing, and the way that they're doing is kind of like insidious in a way, because like Europe is like full tyrannical, like, guys, we're going to shove a CBDC down your throat. There's absolutely nothing you could do about it. But I hate my ex-boyfriend Opti, and you guys are just going to have to deal with it. Message from Christine Lagarde, right? But here in the US, they're a little bit more insidious about it. They're not as straight up. So they're telling you, we're not launching a CBDC, but if you pay attention to their actions, they are kind of focused on launching a CBDC. And if you take a look at it from a political point, right, it's already entered into the kind of mainstream political rhetoric. You have the Republican candidate for president, Donald Trump, promising that if he were to get elected, he would stop the CBDC. In Florida, you had Ron DeSantis, who is also the governor, who is also the Republican candidate, basically saying, like, look, if you were to elect me, I would stop the CBDC. They passed a law in Florida that would make a CBDC illegal without congressional approval. And I think a bunch of other states followed suit. And then also, this is a bipartisan thing. On the independent Democratic side, you had RFK Jr. saying something very similar. And shout out to Vivek, who was the person who told Trump about the CBDC. So anyways, why am I talking about this? I ran into this post over the weekend, and I think it's a warning. It's a warning of what happens when you aren't in complete control of your money. You're relying on someone else. Like, you're relying on someone else for your well-being. You're relying on someone else, and they have a tremendous amount of power over you, right? So this is like a great example. And I want you guys to connect the dots of what happened with the Canadian truckers, right? The Canadian truckers protest happened and they were just freezing people's accounts because of, their political beliefs, because of a protest, right? With Bitcoin, that can't happen. That doesn't happen. That's why it's so important. And this is more obvious if you live in a totalitarian government, if you live in a totalitarian country, or you live in a country that has high inflation. Because if you live in a country that has high inflation, usually what happens is the government tries to install some type of capital controls, right? So Bitcoin is important because it gives you back your financial sovereignty. I can't emphasize that enough. The world would be a much better place, and I would say a much peaceful place, if everyone was just holding their own wealth. I think it would completely change the conversation. I think the relationship between the individual and the state would completely change. Anyways, so here's the post. It came from Shane73. It said, "Hi NAB," and a NAB is a bank in Canada, I might add. "I received a surprising letter today. It says you guys are going to close my account in 45 days, effectively debanking me. The only reason stated was it was, quote, in line with section 143 of the banking code. I looked up the stated banking code here. All the section 143 says, if you have the right to close my account, like what the fuck, nothing more. Can you please tell me why my bank account is being closed by you in 45 days? You have given me no reason as to why you're closing them. This is rather concerning, considering I have been a customer and account holder with NAB for over 30 years. All the transactions on my business account are to suppliers/business services and from customers. Nothing fishy, just a standard small business. Same with my personal account. Subscription to KO Sports, odd UFC fight, ice cream for the kids on the weekend, takeaway here or there. Surely nothing to be concerned about. I have never been charged by the police for anything. I can't see any reason why you would be closing my account. Is it because I occasionally buy a little bit of Bitcoin? 100% that's the reason. I can't think of another reason. Looking forward to your response. Oh, and the way you can only be contacted via email with no phone or branch support for this matter is corporate cowardice. Absolute gutless. I mean, what I got to say about this is just simple. Like, don't put yourself in this position. Like, don't put yourself in this situation where this could happen to you. Migrate to a Bitcoin standard and then take that Bitcoin into self-custody. And then there isn't anyone to quote unquote close your account for whatever fucking reason they determine, right? Section 103 of the banking code. What does that even mean, right? So yeah, this is why self-custody is so important. This is why taking back your financial sovereignty with Bitcoin is so important, and nothing else gives you that. And what is the other option? The other option, and it's moving full steam ahead, are the CBDCs, right? I always say Bitcoin or slavery. A lot of people are saying, Nico, you're being hyperbolic. I don't think so at all. Like I said in the beginning, Europe is being completely transparent with what their goals are, what they're trying to do. But here in the US, the political situation is a little bit different, and they're able to obfuscate what their end goals are. But if you take a look at the information, if you tune into Simply Bitcoin, we lay out the facts for you. We showed you guys this on Friday of last week. Here's the GOP majority whip, and he says, if you don't think the Fed is pursuing a CBDC, think again. The Fed gave this to my staff during a presentation earlier this Congress. They view a CBDC as one of their key duties, right? So this is key duties of the Fed payment system: currency, a check collection, automatic clearinghouse, wholesale payments, fiscal agent of the US government, Fed now, and at the very bottom, central bank digital currency. So make no mistake, it's coming full steam ahead. And here is Brian Morkinson, and he is the head of public policy at Riot Platforms. Riot, of course, is one of the largest publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. And he had something to say about Elizabeth Warren. Let's check it out.
Definitely her goal with the Anti-Money Laundering Act is to kill Bitcoin businesses so that the only option left will be the CBDC. Just like she was in favor of only the public option for health insurance, no private health insurance companies. She's in favor of only the public option for money, no alternatives, no complements or supplements to the dollar.
So you heard it here straight, but it's really interesting because why aren't these politicians straight up about it? Like, why aren't they just like, you know what? It's just because like we don't want competition. We want fiat. No, because they can't run on that. Like, if someone is aware, it's like, and again, it doesn't matter if you're on the Democratic side or the Republican side. Bitcoin helps all sides equal. I would say Bitcoin is the most inclusive, equitable money the world has ever seen. It's the great unifier. It's going to bring everyone together. That's really my view. So So this idea that you have an anti-Bitcoin stance, regardless of your political ideology or your philosophy, what you're telling me is that you're anti-human and that you actually want your constituents to be forced to use a money that steals from them. And that disproportionately affects the lower and middle classes the most, right? So shame on Elizabeth Warren. And again, Opti, I mean, we can't say we told you so, but we did tell you so. This is something that we've been saying on Simply Bitcoin for a long time. But of course, if it's an executive from a public company that's saying it, I mean, look, we gave them the benefit of the doubt for the longest time, but and we found a couple smoking guns, but it's so obvious that Elizabeth Warren's end goal is to kill Bitcoin, even though she doesn't admit it. She's under the guise of like, guys, this is for your safety. This is for your security. This is to stop money laundering. Why can't she just come out and say like, I just don't like Bitcoin. I want dollars, right? Like, it's such bullshit. Anyways, Aladdin, what's your take on this? The CBDC stuff, this Elizabeth Warren kind of lawfare stuff. And, again, dude, you're in a very similar position to us where, it's not only do we have our savings or part of our savings in Bitcoin, but we also, our business, our livelihood depends on Bitcoin. And if something like this bill would pass in the US, it would be very detrimental to people like you and I.
Yeah, no, that's why I originally called my handle the Bitcoin Life Raft. I honestly feel like if they're able to come in and really hold us back to an extreme point, then I mean, there's not a whole lot left out there. When I got friends, they ask me, well, what are you going to do if Bitcoin fails? I'm like, dude, if Bitcoin fails, we're a bunch of communists, socialists. Like we have no chance. So I'm all in on Bitcoin, 100% bullish that this is our chance. Elizabeth Warren, I don't want to get you banned, so I'll be as careful as I can on that one. We're literally living through idiocracy. Like this is the movie from the 90s that just showed how stupid the world can be. Not to put anyone down, but like, how in the hell is she even in office? How is Biden in office? How are any of these people in office? It's really easy to watch 3 minutes of these people talking and they're mad. They're absolutely brain dead, crazy. I'm just blown away that we're where we're at today, period, with these people. But honestly, it's been happening like this for a very long time. Go back quite a ways and see these politicians talk and how they get in there and why people vote for them. Just, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Now on the CBDC, that's some scary shit. I've been following this since 2017. I've done hundreds and hundreds of hours of research from all different angles. And I've got I'm pretty red pilled on this one. So I'll keep a lot of my thoughts on it probably quiet, because I do think that this is one of the most dangerous things, if not the most dangerous thing to humankind right now, is the CBDC. If they're able to pass it, there's more things than I think most people are even thinking about if they're able to get this to go through. And if we're in a really shitty spot as people in the US or wherever we're at, they're going to be able to push this a lot easier than we think. Because if you have the choice of, I lost my job, the economy's shit, and I don't know what to do, and I have to feed my family, and they come out with this CBDC and they're offering the majority of people like free money. Hey, take this free money and we'll take care of you and you can feed your family, you can pay your bills. And that's the socialist, the horrible fear that is in me, that this is what's coming, just because most people are going to take the open hand. We have to go out there and teach people what it means to accept this. It's biblical in many ways. So yeah, it's scary times. The best thing we can do is just talk to as many people as possible, and then hopefully wake them up and let them talk to their friends and family, so that they know this is not just a way to get free money from the government, because that's how the government's going to fold it. They're going to wrap it in some cake. They're going to throw some frosting on top and make you think that now you get this free money that's coming in every month and you can go out and buy a new car. And honestly, with the idiocracy that we're in, I'm not super confident that if we don't wake people up, that they're not going to just take this with open hands. So 100%. I really think we just need to be as open to everyone as we can and just explain to them very clearly, this is some scary shit, and do your research.
100%. I 100% agree with you, man. And it's like it's narrative trench warfare. It's an information war. It's really about winning over the hearts and minds of individuals and really waking up to that reality. Because I think you hit the nail on the head, but with your idiocracy comment. I think if people really knew what was going on, they would act a different way. They would vote a certain way, right? They would think a little bit differently. But I think it's just a matter of, I think a lot of people just don't really care about really understanding what's going on, about really kind of doing their own research. They're very happy relying on, the legacy media and, quote unquote, official news sources, for their information. So I 100% agree. But this is where, and I really want to tie in the trading cards into this because it's another element of this information war aspect. Okay. Opti and I, we focus on the video aspect, we do a podcast, right? But, you have in real life, a physical, Bitcoin meme NFT. It's actually in meat space. And in a way, like you were telling me, about, your experience yesterday and how you were just handing these out. That's kind of like a big deal, right? It's in a way, it's what you said. It's a really great way of orange pilling people in real life. And that's how we win, right? We get a certain amount of people in the US that are Bitcoiners, and then they can't pass anti-Bitcoin legislation. It would be very similar to what happens with the gun laws, right? Where it's like, try passing gun law in the US. It's impossible just because of the amount of people in the country holding guns, right? So hopefully Bitcoin gets to that place a lot faster, sooner rather than later. Anyways, Aladdin, what's your take?
Yeah, no, you have to find a way to disarm people first. And then get them interested enough to take the time to look into a subject. Me and Brandon, you just had Brandon Gentili on here last week. We call the Bitcoin trading cards it's the easy orange pill or the easy red pill. These topics and subjects you bring up to people, whether it's friends and family, or last night I was hanging out with my wife. We were out having a drink for St. Patty's Day, and we were talking to just anybody and everybody. And I was throwing some packs of trading cards around, and before you know it, we're having conversations about the CBDC, about the government, about Bitcoin, all kinds of things. And not a single person there was a Bitcoiner. But if I opened up these conversations without the trading cards, could it work? Yeah, potentially we could still have a good conversation. But with the trading cards, it just automatically disarms people, and they're ripping a pack open, and you have one little flash card that gives you some basics on the CBDC. Imagine handing someone just a little piece of paper that is the basics on a CBDC. They're probably going to look at you like you're crazy and you're an evangelist passing these things out. But with the trading cards, like, most people have had either Pokemon or football or trading cards have been around for so long. So this is just a really simple way to get them to have fun, disarm them, and then boom, they're literally walking around with a flash card that tells them about CBDCs. So I really think there are ways to be able to break through people's cognitive dissonance, but we can't come at them and slap them across the face. We've got to come at them and give them something fun, and then it will slap them across the face. It's just not you doing it. It's the waking up of all the propaganda they've had throughout their life, and you just got to get them started, give them something.
100%, 100%. Yes, the separation of money and state, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it won't be as violent as the separation of church and state. But I think it's a different type of warfare. It's information warfare, right? Make no mistake, that's exactly what we're living through these days. So memes, content, trading cards. Breitbart had the best quote, right? Which is, politics is downstream from culture, right? You have to win over the culture. And the way that you do that is by winning the hearts and minds of individuals, orange pilling them in whichever way you see possible. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this before we get onto the culture?
Yeah, I just want to touch on the CBDC aspect of this bit.
Why'd you do that with Christine, bro? Europe is a lost cause. Like Europe, they don't even hide it there anymore. They're like, we're gonna shove this shit down your fucking throat. And I'm telling you, it's because Christine Lagarde she hates her ex-boyfriend, Optimus Fields.
Yeah, all the Europeans, you guys can hit my DMs and blame me. No, seriously though. You asked a rhetorical question, and I'm blanking on what the question was, but my answer to the question you just asked a minute ago is, we know that governments and their friends do not like to compete on the free market. And now there's an actual currency money competition right now that is known as Bitcoin. And you can see in real time that Bitcoin and Bitcoiners and all the developers and the miners, we are just out competing them on the free market, and they're freaking out about this. And hence why they do their FUD campaigns to try to gaslight people and scaring them away from Bitcoin. And hence why what Aladdin's doing is such a powerful thing, is because we are in an information war right now. The World War III is an information war right now, and we are the frontline soldiers. We understand what's actually going on. And it's at this point of the show when I always like to remind people that we're basically already in a CBDC system. Everything's already digital. The only thing about a CBDC that is absolutely terrifying is the like surgical precision that they will be able to control the monetary network. But you know, when you really look back into it, you know, with all the stable coins out there, like Circle being one of them, pretty much intertwined with the legacy financial world, and everything you see in the digital dollar right now, we're pretty much already in a CBDC system. And I know a lot of times people are saying we were being hyperbolic when we would say Bitcoin or slavery, but like there is no other option. That's why Christine Lagarde was saying that we will not let them go to the escape hatch that is Bitcoin. This is why we're seeing the attacks on Bitcoin. This is why we're seeing the gaslighting towards Bitcoin and fighting of Bitcoin constantly from the corporate press, is because they know what we know, that it is Bitcoin or bust, that there is no other solution. And if you want to protect yourself and not be on the wrong side of the, I was going to say potential, but the next financial crisis that is probably on the horizon, you need to have some Bitcoin, and you need to diversify your systemic risk. You need to get outside of the traditional financial world, because we know that it's 11th grade math, as Foss always says. Like, they either have to raise interest rates or they have to print money. There is no other solution that they have right now. And so if you do not want to partake in that system, if you do not want to partake in the lies, if you don't trust government, if you don't trust banks, then there's literally only one solution, and it is Bitcoin. It is super simple. Swipe Simply Bitcoin. You need to stack sat, stay humble, take your Bitcoin into custody. There's literally, you know, I forget who said it, but one of our friends basically said, like, if there was another solution here, if we could fix this situation without talking about Bitcoin, Bitcoiners would be on top of that. But this is why we're Bitcoiners, because this is the only solution we can see, and it's the only way out. And if you have these fears, if you are concerned about where the world's going, then you should be holding some Bitcoin. And it's pretty much like that, cut and dry. You need to hold some Bitcoin if you have concerns of what's going on in the legacy financial system.
100%. Amen to that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the culture to talk more BTC trading cards. Let's go. Here we go.
The Daily Culture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the culture, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Racks, the most trusted place to buy, sell, and host Bitcoin mining ASICs. You can check out their racks by scanning the QR code or checking the link in the video description or podcast description. That will take you to their Telegram marketplace, where you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. What about selling mining equipment? Well, Kaboom Racks also has your back. You can access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your Bitcoin mining equipment with them. So guys, check out Kaboom Racks today. This is where I personally buy my Bitcoin mining ASICs. All right, Opti, it's all yours.
All right, let's go. Well, we do have Aladdin, the founder of BTC trading cards. So I got your website up here. We can go through it. But like we were having the conversation before, we're going to get into everything that you guys are going to drop. But I think a good place to start is what I was telling you. Like, I had no idea that trading cards was such a huge market. And I think this is just like a testament to how well you guys are doing. So maybe give the audience out there just the context of how big trading cards actually is, and then we can go into all the things you've been working on.
Yeah, it's a lot larger than I ever imagined, but I mean, a lot of it has picked up since 2020. So with trading cards being around 150 years, like any market, they've had their ups and downs. I mean, Pogs were really cool for a while when I was a kid, and then they disappeared, which is a bummer because I love my Pogs. But trading cards is something that has never gone away. It's definitely had its peak moments. 80s and 90s were off the hook, and then it kind of fizzled out a little bit. But when the COVIDs showed up for the first time, I guess, at that point, people stuck in their homes, they didn't have a whole lot to do. And then trading cards started trending a little bit. People started getting into them. And before you know it, we went from, I think it was around a $28 billion market cap. Within 3 years, we popped up into, I think right now we're around a $69 billion market cap. And it's just getting ready to pump from here. Very similar to the timing of Bitcoin, which is kind of strange, but cool for us at the same time. I had to do a lot of research over the years leading up to this because, I mean, as much as I collected trading cards in the way of I love the artwork, it was mainly Marvel cards. I grew up in the country, so I didn't really have access to stores. I was far away from any city, so it was friends and family that would throw me a card here and there, really just my buddies whose parents, dad had cards stacked under the bed that we would go and dig through when I was a kid. But I've learned so much just on the industry over the last couple of years. And the biggest thing to put out there is like, yeah, the market cap's incredible. But I think what a lot of people don't understand, and where I can kind of get into why I think these trading cards are going to be so effective for people, is the scarcity. So Pokemon, as far as we can tell, we went through Reddit, we went everywhere. Most of these big trading card companies, they will not be transparent, and you can't really find their numbers. If they run a small run, then they'll put the numbers out. But anything other than that, they just don't put their numbers out. Why? Because Pokemon, on average, a small year might be upwards of around 1 billion packs produced in 1 year throughout their different sets worldwide. And then on a really good year, Pokemon has printed up to 5 to 6 billion packs in 1 year. It's insane. And I don't think people understand that what they're buying and saying, I'm collecting this and I collect Pokemon cards. Well, you're collecting paper, because if there are billions of packs being produced, then I think you're just throwing your money away at that point. So with the scarcity of what we're producing, like the Nico card, there's only 500 of those that will ever exist. And that's one of my favorite cards, Nico. You pulled that off really, really well.
I mean, I didn't do anything. You guys, shout out to you guys for doing this. This is crazy. When I saw it first, I was just like mind blown. The way that who's doing your art, man? It's so badass. It's so cool.
So if you see on the side there, we put the artists' names, and the artist that did your card is Nico Gutierrez, and he's out of Argentina. Amazing guy. And he originally, when we first started talking about 2 years ago, he was helping me out, and he's come a long way on getting orange pilled and red pilled, and just an incredible guy. And we just got done talking about the new election in Argentina the other day. And I mean, it's making big impacts on the artists I'm working with, the people that are collecting them, but it's kind of an all around win we've been doing with these. So Nico, your artist that did your card was Nico.
Oh man, Nico's, man. Absolutely love it. It's badass. And the Tone Vase one was badass. The Natalie one, the whole unconfiscatable collection. I actually have some physical NFTs. I'm going to go get them.
All right, Aladdin. Let's talk about your latest partnership. This is huge that you just were telling us about. I've been hearing it from Brandon as well. You guys partner with Fanatics, so maybe tell the people what Fanatics is and then what the partnership entails.
Absolutely, Fanatics is. Oh damn, you got the. Is that the poker table? Oh, the Scammy Awards. All right. To see just how rare you hit it. And we got Asanoa. And I don't know if you guys know, but Asanoa is our art director here at Bitcoin Trading Cards. We're so blessed to have him. The guy is insanely talented. So yeah, the Fanatics, for anyone that doesn't know what Fanatics is, these guys have basically come out and taken over the IP of just about any sports memorabilia in the entire world. From pro wrestling to soccer to golf, NBA, MLB, like these guys are it. And they went above and beyond just doing the collectibles and apparel throughout all these different sports franchises. They actually started purchasing trading card companies. So they purchased Topps, and I believe they got Panini, and they're working on a bunch more. They do sports betting, online sports betting. But then they do trading card breaking. And for those of you that don't know what breaking is, it's basically where you get someone on screen that'll rip a box of trading cards open. And it's just a really fun way for people that maybe can't afford a box of these trading cards and they want to see the chase and they can interact in that chase. So for us, we never imagine that we'd be like having companies like this reach out to us. But I think they're obviously with the bull market picking up and just Bitcoin picking up, period. There's a lot of companies that are going to want to get involved in Bitcoin, and maybe they're not putting it on their balance sheet, but in other ways, they're going to be starting to just try and pick up inside the hype, and maybe that will help get it on their balance sheet. But Fanatics reached out and wanted to get us on Fanatics Live. This has been going about 6 to 8 months now. And this is where we'll be able to have our own show, kind of like what you guys are doing, but with the trading cards and potential to reach millions of people that are really not Bitcoiners. These are just trading card collectors. And with the market cap of trading cards being as big as it is, I mean, there's
what is the market cap of trading cards?
Right now, I think it's around $69 billion.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's massive, absolutely massive. And here's the thing, Nico, most of these people, it's so similar. Like I pick up so many similarities to trading cards and the fiat system we're in. The majority of all these trading card products out there are just like fiat, that you print at will. So one of the reasons why these companies will not tell you how many cards they produce is because they'll come out with a new set. They kick that new set out. They don't know if it's going to sell really well or not. So if they tell you we've printed this many packs of trading cards, or there's this many of this card or that card, then they don't have the ability to print more, like the Federal Reserve. So they'll come out and kick a new set out with some new theme. And if that theme goes really well and they sell really well, then they're just going to go and print more of these. So the trading card collectors in the world, I'm not sure many of them understand what scarcity is. So with these trading cards that we have, the first thing that they're going to start learning, because it's going to slap them across the face if they're collectors of trading cards at all originally, and that is, what is scarcity? Like, we come out and we have the scarcest packs in the world. So our flagship series is Orange Pill in a pack. We do this once a year. There's 21,000 packs. Well, the flagship series of Pokemon or Topps or Panini or any of these guys is literally in the millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions. And then here we are with 21,000 packs. And this is something that collectors, I mean, it really hasn't been done in the space before like this. So the first thing, again, they're going to learn is scarcity. And to me, with all the orange pilling I've been doing for many years now, talking to anybody that'll give me the time of day, is they need to understand scarcity. If they don't at least understand scarcity, they're not going to understand anything about the Federal Reserve, anything about Bitcoin. So you've got to get them some little starting off points. And that's the cool thing about these trading cards. Without them ever even reading a pack, just understanding what we print, they're immediately going to start to learn about scarcity. And I think once people start waking up to that, we've got major potential for these cards to really start reaching out there. The problem is they're so scarce, so we can only reach so far, at least at where we're at right now.
Amazing distribution. And then Aladdin, let's just talk about what do you have coming down the pipeline? I know you kind of touched on some of it, what you were telling me, but what can people keep looking out for from Bitcoin trading cards?
So right now, again, just being as scarce as we do this, when we do a commemorative pack, that's usually for a conference that's happening. So we can commemorate that conference, and you can have something to bring home to the kids and be able to just celebrate that day and kind of timestamp the getting to hang with Bitcoiners and just enjoying the conference. So we only do 2,121 packs of that particular conference, like the unconfiscatable with you in there, Nico. Literally 2,121 packs, and there will never be another pack of those ever created. So we've got BitBlock Boom coming up, and we've got some BitBlock Boom conference packs coming out, same number, but these are going to be incredibly special. So in the nostalgia and in knowing Gary really well, he's quite the boomer. So we theme these boomers in Bitcoin, and we've got some incredible boomers in the pack. And we went above and beyond to kind of put that boomer ethos in there. So each of these trading cards are actually printed on old school retro cardstock. So that the ink and the paper and everything is literally going to smell and feel and look like you just pulled a card out of the 1970s. So these are really, really cool. And some of the boomers we have in the packs is just really special. And then the biggest one that I think we've ever done in the way of how incredible this is going to be is we're coming out with the halving edition whale packs. And we reached out to 21 different Bitcoin artists in the space, many that you guys will know. And we all came together and collaborated to make this halving edition pack that we will literally only do once every 4 years. And there is 3,121 packs. And literally, you won't see these for another 4 years after this. So again, the scarcity is incredible. The collaborations we're able to do. For anyone that hasn't seen these cards yet, I mean, you guys can think about taking the whole Bitcoin bubble of what we're in as a community, Bitcoin Twitter, everything that we're doing, and encapsulate that in a pack of trading cards. So we are creating pop culture as we speak right now. With Bitcoin, we're creating the biggest movement in world history. So these trading cards is that. It's just encapsulating our whole world together in these trading cards and making it really fun to be able to look back on for Bitcoiners, and making it really simple to learn about why we are so bullish and why we love the space and get along so well together for people that are not in Bitcoin.
Love it. Someone, actually, a few people keep asking, I don't know if it's the same one, but do they get a piece of bubble gum with their packs of Bitcoin trading cards?
Good, so check this out. I've reached out multiple times to try to get bubblegum in the pack, and I did a bunch of research on that one because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it. I can eventually maybe go through China and have them printed in China. I don't really want to do that, but that would be my only way, because the FDA in the United States literally said you can no longer put bubblegum in the pack.
Oh man,
which is insane, and just shows how much dictatorship they have over us, and the fact that we can't even put bubble gum in a pack of trading cards, which is ridiculous.
Dude,
but I did fit something else in there. So we have what they call a sticker map. So there's a sticker in every single pack of these BitBlock Boom trading cards. And if you collect all 9 stickers, then it puts together a map. And I thought that was something really cool to kind of fit in, because we couldn't do the bubble gum, and it's super old school. And that's what these packs are supposed to represent. I think they'll work really well for boomers, because when they open them, it's literally gonna be like pulling a pack from the 70s. So
hell yeah,
grandparents,
awesome.
That's rad.
mom, dad, these are the packs to hook them up with.
Guys, check out btc-tc.com to check out the website. And again, Aladdin said it, these are scarce. So that means that you want to get yours while supplies last. And I've seen some run pretty expensive. Some of these individual cards, right? So
yeah, can we talk about that? The like black market of this Bitcoin trading cards is crazy. Or not the over the counter market. What was the secondary markets? It's so nuts.
I saw a Nico on eBay for $500, and I took a screenshot and I sent that to my parents.
Love it. Well, just wait till we start hitting Comic-Cons and we, because like we're not. This was created to have fun with Bitcoiners, but this was really created, again, to get people outside of the Bitcoin space. And if a Pokemon card with the rarity of a 1 in 10,000, a 1 in 100,000 has any value whatsoever to it, then a Nico out of 500 should be massively valuable. But I mean, I think the coolest thing about putting you guys in the packs is, like, what are we celebrating with all these other people that go into the trading cards when it comes to sports? I mean, yeah, they're really good at sports. And some of these guys have done some amazing things outside of it, which is great, but the trading cards don't talk on that. And what the Bitcoiners are doing is really something to be held in high esteem. And you guys should be celebrated for that. Now, Bitcoin does teach you to kill your heroes. So we don't have any hero cards, and we don't say anything about heroes, because that's one of the things we hope these trading cards teach is kill your heroes. But you should also celebrate people that are doing incredible things for the world. The people we're celebrating right now on TikTok and Instagram and all this social media is absolutely a joke. It's just insanely stupid. I mean, we're going right back to idiocracy. So we're trying to bring the celebration back to the people that are actually doing positive things for the world. And I think like the value of that down the road, with the success that we have ahead of us with Bitcoin, these are going to be incredibly fun. And I think one of the last points I want to talk on is we got NFTs out there and meme coins and shit coins galore and all this crap. I talk to people every single day about Bitcoin, and almost every single one of them asks me about these stupid coins, the NFTs and all this crap. They're so interested in it. because the companies that are putting these out with all their stupid JPEGs and all these really weird apes and all this crap, people that don't know anything about Bitcoin get really excited about that. They hear number go up, it looks fun, it's a cartoon, it appeals to them in one way or another. So that's what they're kind of driving towards. And we've got to break through that somehow. And it's going to be really hard to break through that and handing them a fat book or giving them too much information too quick. So, I mean, people can call these physical NFTs, they can call them whatever they want. Really, it's the Trojan horse. And we have to create something like this to be able to appeal to the masses, to start to learn about Bitcoin, to start to learn about freedom, the important things. These cards, every card has the artwork on the front, but the education is on back. And that education is that Trojan horse. You give them something, get them excited, but then if they read any one of the trading cards that we've created, there's a chance they're going to learn something. And we just have to start appealing in ways that attracts them. And there's a lot of things that we try to do as Bitcoiners that doesn't necessarily do that. The normies are completely manipulated and brainwashed really, really hard. And it's going to take a massive Trojan horse to be able to pull them out of that.
Amen. Amen.
100%.
I completely agree. Guys, check out Opti. Could you pull it up the thing again? There we go. Guys, check out btc-tc.com. Check out BTC trading cards. They're absolutely awesome. So many additions, and looking forward to the Boomer edition. That's going to be absolutely epic. Opti and I are going to be able to see those in person at BitBlock Boom. And I'm asking Aladdin right now on air. Aladdin, will you join us on the news desk at BitBlock Boom so we can show off some of these cards? Hell
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you got my media guy helping you out, so he told me he'd sneak me in.
He was our media guy before he joined you. So
I've had him for a year. No. You guys swipe and then I swipe him back. Yeah.
Murphy is an absolute legend. Absolute.
That is my token Canadian, guys.
Murphy's an absolute pro and legend, and we appreciate him for his talent, and he's really good at what he does. Anyways,
that's why
guys,
we started Studio BTC.
And let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. What is that? What is Studio BTC?
So with Murphy, he came on about a year and a half ago as a volunteer, and the guy is just like you guys know. He's absolutely incredible. So as we started building, one of the biggest things we started kind of breaking into in thoughts and ideas is being an entertainment company for Bitcoin. I mean, all of us, we are the marketing team for Bitcoin. Any one of us, everyone in the chat, I mean, everyone is involved because Bitcoin is open source, so it's up to us. And creating Studio BTC was a way for us to be able to leverage the incredible talent that we're bringing on to Bitcoin trading cards and get out there and start doing some really fun things in media. The 30-second TikTok videos and all that crap that I know nothing about. These are the things that we need to do in order to, again, start approaching the masses and getting them involved. So Studio BTC is just a really good way for our team to leverage amazing talents throughout the space and take those talents, hone it in, come up with some amazing work that we're able to put out. And then we're able to help companies like you, Nico, with Simply Bitcoin and far and wide to be able to put some incredible stuff together and bring a little bit of this, what I like to call the artistic magic across the board to any Bitcoin company out there that might need some help.
100%. I love it. And you guys are going to do great with Murphy. That's some really awesome firepower there from the media side. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. I'm your host, Nico. This is my awesome co-host, Optimus Fields. And I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest today, Aladdin, the founder of BTC Trading Card. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
All right, thank you for having me, brother. Anytime. Love it.
Appreciate you, bro. And see you in Texas very, very soon.
Sounds great.
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. But the number one thing you could do to help push the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is share Bitcoin content. And in fact, share Bitcoin everything. Bitcoin trading cards, Bitcoin music, Bitcoin art. That's how we win over the culture. Win over the culture, we win the game. All right. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live.
Episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.